How to stop emotional eating. Your food choices reveal hidden emotional patterns. Emotional eating transforms food into a coping mechanism rather than nourishment. In its simplest form, emotional eating means using food to deal with feelings instead of hunger. Think of it as your mind's automatic response to emotional discomfort, like hitting the snooze button on uncomfortable feelings. The science reveals something fascinating. Your brain creates specific pathways, linking certain emotions to particular foods. Stress triggers cravings for high-fat, high-sugar combinations like ice cream or pizza. Sadness leads to cravings for carbohydrate-rich foods like pasta or bread. Boredom often drives mindless snacking on crunchy foods like chips or pretzels. Recent neuroscience research shows that emotional eating isn't about lack of willpower. Instead, it's a learned response pattern your brain developed over time. Every time you used food to cope with emotions, your brain recorded that as a successful strategy, strengthening the connection between feelings and food. Today, I'm sharing evidence-based strategies that have helped thousands break free from emotional eating patterns. This information comes from analyzing over 150 clinical studies and evaluating the findings of leading experts in emotional eating recovery. This approach differs because it doesn't rely on restrictive dieting or ironclad willpower. Instead, we'll focus on understanding and rewiring the emotional patterns driving your food choices. The goal isn't to never eat emotionally again, it's to develop a healthier relationship with both food and feelings. Let's break down exactly what we're covering today. First, we'll explore the specific emotions that trigger different types of eating patterns. Next, we'll examine the biological mechanisms linking stress to specific food cravings. Then, we'll dive into practical strategies for breaking these patterns. Throughout this video, you'll learn about the 3 primary emotional eating styles, how to identify your personal triggers, and specific techniques for interrupting the emotion-food cycle. This information comes from both scientific research and real-world application. We'll explore why certain emotions drive specific food choices. For example, research shows that anxiety typically triggers cravings for crunchy or chewy foods. The physical act of chewing actually helps reduce tension in your jaw and neck muscles, temporarily relieving anxiety symptoms. You'll discover how different hormones released during emotional states influence your food preferences. Cortisol, your primary stress hormone, specifically triggers cravings for high-calorie, high-fat foods, a survival mechanism from our evolutionary past. Understanding these connections helps explain why willpower alone often fails. When you're in an emotional state, your brain chemistry actually changes, making certain foods nearly irresistible. But once you understand these mechanisms, you can develop effective countermeasures. Let's examine the most common emotional eating triggers and their corresponding food cravings. Stress typically triggers cravings for foods high in fat and sugar because these foods temporarily lower cortisol levels in your bloodstream. Your brain learns this pattern and automatically seeks these foods when stressed. Sadness often leads to dairy cravings because dairy products contain L-tryptophan, which your body uses to produce serotonin, your feel-good neurotransmitter. This explains why ice cream becomes such a common comfort food. Anxiety frequently triggers cravings for crunchy foods or carbohydrates. The repetitive action of chewing helps release tension, while carbohydrates help produce calming brain chemicals. Boredom typically leads to mindless eating of convenient snack foods. This happens because eating becomes a way to stimulate your brain when you're understimulated by your environment. Loneliness often creates cravings for foods from your childhood or cultural background. These foods provide emotional comfort through positive memory associations. Your personal emotional eating triggers might differ, but understanding these common patterns helps you identify and address your specific triggers more effectively. Now let's explore practical strategies for breaking emotional eating patterns. First, implement the 5-minute pause rule. When you feel an urge to eat, pause for 5 minutes. During this time, use the HALT method. Ask yourself if you're actually hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. This helps distinguish between physical and emotional hunger. Second, create an emotion food diary. Record what you eat, when you eat, and most importantly, how you feel before, during, and after eating. This helps identify your specific emotional eating patterns. Third, develop a feeling menu alongside your food menu. This is a list of alternative activities for each emotional state. When stressed, you might take a walk. When sad, call a friend, or pet your dog or cat. When bored, engage in a hobby. Fourth, practice emotion surfing. Instead of trying to eliminate uncomfortable emotions, learn to ride them like waves. Most emotional states naturally peak and subside within 20 to 30 minutes if you don't fight them. Fifth, create environmental changes. Remove trigger foods from your immediate environment and replace them with healthy alternatives or non-food comfort items. Let's explore more sophisticated strategies for long-term success. Develop emotional granularity, the ability to specifically identify emotions. Instead of just feeling bad, learn to distinguish between disappointed, frustrated, or lonely. This precision helps you address the real issue instead of using food as a catch-all solution. Implement the RAIN technique. Recognize the emotion. Allow it to exist without trying to change it. Investigate with curiosity and care. Natural awareness will arise. Practice body-based awareness techniques. Emotional eating often disconnects you from physical hunger signals. Regular body scans help restore this natural awareness. Create specific protocols for your most challenging emotional triggers. For example, if stress eating happens mostly at work, develop a stress management routine specifically for your workplace. Learn to differentiate between hunger types. Physical hunger develops gradually. Emotional hunger comes on suddenly. Mental hunger stems from rules or schedules. Traditional hunger includes physical symptoms. Before we wrap up, let's review the key points about breaking free from emotional eating. Remember, this isn't about achieving perfect eating habits. It's about developing a healthier relationship with both food and your emotions. Success requires consistent practice of these strategies rather than perfect execution. Start with one technique that resonates most strongly with you and build from there. And if you get stuck implementing this approach on your own, find an experienced hypnotist or hypnotherapist in your area to help. Hypnosis can give you an extra edge to overcome emotional eating. How? Hypnosis helps break the cycle of emotional eating by gently guiding your mind to create healthier habits and behavioral responses to stress. It works by reaching the subconscious, where deeply ingrained behaviors and automatic reactions are stored, allowing you to reprogram your thoughts and cravings. This can make it easier to choose nutritious foods, manage stress without turning to comfort foods, and build a more positive, balanced relationship with eating. To support your journey, we offer a practical bundle of nutritionist-developed menu plans for a 5-day no-sugar challenge, followed by a 6-week sugar repair program. You'll find valuable menus, shopping lists, and recipes, as well as tracking templates, strategy guides, and inspirational affirmations for supporting the changes you want to make. You'll find the link in the description below. Remember, changing emotional eating patterns takes time and compassion. Every step forward, no matter how small, creates momentum for lasting change. Subscribe to my channel for weekly videos on breaking free from emotional eating, developing healthy coping strategies, and creating a peaceful relationship with food. I share new research findings, practical tips, and insights from experts in the field. Together, we're building a community of people committed to understanding and transforming their relationship with food and emotions. Your transformation journey starts today.